We are live now. Over to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as we say at Solvers, because there is people around the world joining us today. We welcome to the Soul Show, Season 2, Chapter 1, with the indomitable Raj Kapoor, and this is your host, Kavita Kanaparthi, CEO and founder of Solvers. Raj is well, we have introduced him last session. If you were with us for the previous season, we closed the season with Raj Kapoor, but we would love to introduce him again because if you have missed it, you would miss a lot about him. He is not just the father of blockchain in India, but I would say he's literally becoming one across the globe. The India Blockchain Alliance that he has founded has chapters across the world. And if you would like one to open up in your area, wherever you are, he is the man you want to talk to. And he's not just going to open a chapter, but he's going to make sure that blockchain is understood, adopted, and thrives in wherever you are. So, and he is our host today, and we're going to be talking about embracing the decentralized future, which we all must, a multidisciplinary approach to human-centric innovation, ethical AI integration, and inclusive leadership in the digital age. And Raj is not just a founder or a creator, but he is an innovator. There are I will let him give you the number of patents he has to his name, whether it is an AI or blockchain. And now I give the floor on to off to Raj to introduce himself. And this time, Raj, please do tell us about your patents. And I want to begin with that first.
No, I feel horribly. Okay, anyhow, I'll tell you. Fine. Uh, Now I sold a few right now. I actually use blockchain to fractionalize some of my patents and sold them as well. And I got 20x than what I would have got otherwise. So when we say we walk our
That is
talk,
the
we
best
should walk.
case. I think that is the best case you can sell to any RWA. And
Yes.
go on. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So now I've got about 67 in blockchain and almost nearing 100 now in AI. So it's like a collection. It's like we used to collect stamps and coins when we were kids. Now I collect the patents. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of work in that space. Yes, of course, it's easier to collect a stamp and coin because you just got to exchange it or buy it or pick it up from somewhere. Here you got to work a
Mhm.
little harder, and, make it yourself. Yes, it's a good thing. I've been doing it for years. It's not that it's happening right now. I've been doing it for years. Now I'm also doing it. You know what? All you talked about these chapters. What we're going to do is work with all these chapters and the communities around them and create a new set of patents for them, which also will become their revenue streams for the future. So
Cool.
we're actually thinking futuristic now. When we talk
Yes.
about blockchain, we should not be stuck on the old-fashioned only supply chains and all those things. Those are great. They've done their job. Okay, let's look at some more innovation. So that's where I come in from. And not only are we doing that, we're also creating the DAOs within their space. All of them are going to be their own DAOs. It's a whole new ecosystem. Then I'm going to link all the DAOs to a master DAO. So there's a lot of things, and I'm going to patent that, and then I'm going to bring the whole ecosystem and take it
Okay.
connected to the world. So we're actually walking a talk, and we are creating the blocks and the chains.
Do leave something for the world, Raj. But
Listen,
we love the fact that we have. I'm
I'm in my
sorry.
60s. I'm going to be lasting. I'm in my 60s. There'll be a lot more for the world to take over. I'll be here for a few more years, but then till then, the rest
Oh,
of the world can take over.
you're going to be here for a lot more years. I'm just kidding. And we love that you innovate, and we love the fact that we have access to everything. Literally your brains. And by the way, guys, Raj Kapoor is one of Solverse's advisors, and we are very, very humbled by it. Just the fact that we can pick his brain, pick up the phone and pick his brain, and to get some answers. If you're contemplating on something, and if you want some guidance, he's always there. And if you are one of his mentees, you would know already how generous he is with his time, with his knowledge, and with everything that he can share with you. Moving
One more
on,
share.
Raj. Yes,
Just sorry to
go ahead.
interrupt you. Here's
Sure,
here's here's
absolutely.
here's something for everybody. I'm also happy to share my house with anybody who wants to come to Goa. I have a lovely house. We have a large house and a large heart. Come over. That also we can share.
There is no doubt about that, Raj. And I'm looking forward to actually seeing you in Goa. I know that we
Yes.
meet other places, but of course, I'm looking forward to that as well. Since we are on the topic of AI, let me ask you just, begin with that particularly. And I didn't want to come here today with, a set of questions that I have ready and I send it to you and you have the answers and all of that, because I wanted, because AI is such a large topic and you are right in the middle of it. So let's begin with the core question. What is the main focus of your patents
Uh,
in
if you
AI?
repeat AI.
In
Okay.
AI, yes. What is main focus? There are multiple things, right? You could be focusing on, language models. You could be focusing on different things. You could be focusing on some, all of this, the ethical part of it. How you enhance that? So, where is your focus in AI?
My focus is clearly on the ethical aspect of it. Clearly, everything else is come secondary. So, see, AI is amazing, but frankly
Mm-hmm.
speaking, you need to play fair. I mean, we've had these
Mm-hmm.
elections now, and we've seen the biggest deep fake based election ever you would have ever seen. And maybe the
Mm-hmm.
Americans will outdo us now when the next
Mm-hmm.
code went. I've seen the number of deep fakes which we were actually doing the study of and trying to figure out where they came from, the track and trace of that also, because we've actually created a solution called P by C, protect your
Okay.
content. So with this way,
Mm-hmm.
we are trying to backward trace from the origin, and we know even when a pixel gets changed. We are working very closely with PTI, also Press Trust of India,
Mm-hmm.
along these lines.
Mm-hmm.
So these elections really were a great case of why we need to have a lot of ethics and responsible AI. It's amazing, yes. Basically, what I believe that the integration will ensure, that all our AI systems are transparent and using blockchain as a beautiful layer to make that happen. Unbiased, respects our privacy, your privacy, content protects the content. All these things are very, very vital. Actually, you
Mm-hmm.
can think of it like a real smart assistant. I
Mm-hmm.
always think of it as a smart assistant who always has your best interest at heart, never goes through your phone, never goes through your diary, never goes through your papers, nothing. It's just building trust and ensuring that that decisions are fair, they are just, and don't hurt sentiments. That's my
Mm-hmm.
core focus, and it's never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Reason, we have a fantastic technology, but it's the
Mm-hmm.
Wild West right now. The Wild
Mm-hmm.
West is not, it's not going to last if it's only going to be the Wild West. You saw the gold rush.
Yes.
Only that's why the whole thing only fools Russian. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, that's what's happening now. A lot of people are using AI, but they're not using it responsibility. There are copyright infringements, there are patent infringements, there are IP infringements,
Mm-hmm.
and there are no way around that. I'll give you an example. Somebody was. This is a real life example. It may sound silly or stupid, but that's exactly what happened. I
Mm-hmm.
won't name where it happens. There's, people will start googling it and find it very fast. It's not good for that guy's reputation. But somebody created porn using AI completely. Now, is it responsible? Not responsible? It's a question we have to ask ourselves. He
Mm-hmm.
says it's not. That guy was saying it is not at all non-ethical because if I can watch porn on the internet, why can't I create it and upload it?
Mm-hmm.
He asked
Mm-hmm.
a valid question. He said there are no rules and regulations which stop me from. It's a creation at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of ethical considerations we need. These things can't go rampant. It'll not. It's not great for any community or a society. Therefore,
Mm-hmm.
I think focus not only on mine, but for everybody else who's doing whatever they are doing in the AI space should also be towards the responsibility. Are we being responsible?
Mm-hmm.
Are we being ethical? Are we being true to ourselves? Because at the end, whatever you say, at the end of everything is all human centric. It's
Yes.
all human centric. So it's the world where technology should be designed around us, not the other way around. And I think that is what we
Yes.
need to really be careful about. Put the guardrails in place, think straight. You would do that in your own life, right? In your own
Yes.
families, own
Yes.
society. So why not with the technology?
And actually, what I was about to ask was exactly that, the human centricness, right? How, how well can we, with all these guardrails or whatever, we do, especially the example that you gave, porn rights, the person could actually be using somebody's, features, maybe the closer, to whatever, and they may say, oh, well, it doesn't exactly represent the person. And so now comes the question of human rights and the privacy, right? Recently, even with AI's voice, right? That there was um, one of the American actors, Renee Zellweger, or I think it was her, or somebody else. I can't exactly remember. Filed a case that she was originally approached by OpenAI for her voice, and she refused. And but the voice that they used is actually quite representative of hers. And then, but
Yes.
then OpenAI said no, no, no. They did not go ahead with it, but then they took it down. I mean, for them to actually take it down does show that there was some malice there, right?
Yes, Alice. Yes. Yes.
Not you, that little 2% of not you, would that be okay in the way you infringe on somebody's human rights and privacy? How far is it too far, and how far can we stretch this without indignifying somebody, or infringing on their rights and infringing on their privacy? Because we need to be transparent about these, and we need to put our foot down, say it is 100%. You cannot, then there's no 98%. So how far
Right.
is that? Yeah.
Right. Frankly speaking, there is going to be a solution being created right now. It's called the PYC, Protect Your Content.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, let's assume, just you talked about a Hollywood celebrity. Let's talk about a local celebrity. Let's say Amitabh Bachchan. His voice is everywhere. Anybody can get, AI can really have a field day creating and replicating his voice, etc. Now, if you could actually put the guardrails in place and put a licensing strategy around that in place, it's good wishful thinking also, but it's happening. Say, well, listen, okay, you can use this. You can use my dialogues. You can use this, and you can pay me a royalty for it. You should start trying to build in some legitimacy where everybody is rewarded. Then you'll have more people coming and say, okay, use my voice, doesn't matter, but pay me for it or reward me for it in some way or the other. I think there has to be 100%. There is no 98% here.
Yeah.
It has to be 100%. There is no middle path here. Let's first understand what is when we talk about human-centric innovation, let's talk about that. Hey, this is innovation, technology innovation. It basically means putting the services, products that are genuinely going to help us improve our lives. If it's not doing that, you're still 99%, not 100%.
Yes.
It's like basically you have a smartphone. That not only understands your needs but also anticipates them. That's the way you should look at it. The goal is to make actually technology work for us, making our day-to-day tasks easier, more enjoyable. Let's have fun with it rather than be just overwhelmed by it. Or that's where we are. And we lack that right now. We try to complicate things a little. If you and I have a simple conversation, I have a phone. I have a phone. Yes, I have a phone. Everybody has a phone. It has multiple technologies inside it, right?
Yes.
Do I really want to know everything about it? Do I know whether you and I don't even know whether they've used it's been ethically put inside? But if we use the phone ethically, that's our responsibility. We know we're making a chat and we are chatting properly as friends and not sending stupid things, movies or dirty pictures or religious sentimental, all the stuff. It's the human being within you and in with you. That's where I think the whole discussion should be about the human within. And I also believe that it should be, as I told you before, today, it's all about, when you talk about human-centric innovations, it's all about personalization. I may like a color, you may not like a particular color. I may like something. I may like, say, Amitabh Bachchan. You may not like Amitabh Bachchan. You like, say, Salman Khan. It does not mean it makes you enemy. It makes you just more personalized, custom. Give them the happiness what you require, the designing, basically, even, most important, it should be all the tech development, in my opinion, should be empathy-driven.
Yes.
It's innovation being driven by empathy, where even developers, designers put themselves in the user's shoes and they understand their pain, their needs, This leads to solutions that are aligned with real world and not some fancy stuff which is going to come here today, gone tomorrow. There are
Yeah.
so many considerations, but this is where I think is really, and also inclusivity is going to be very, very sacrosanct. There is, I see it happening now. There's a growing emphasis on making products and all to include people with disabilities, including website apps, how to navigate. This is very important also because now we're being inclusive. Why is it that people with disabilities are not part of our whole development strategy? They should be, and they would be. We are,
Yes.
in fact, soon we are doing actually a program, Kavita, in Delhi. It's called Offering. It's how
Okay.
we are actually telling them how technology can help better their lives of people who are visually impaired. That's something, and that is not
Fantastic.
just. I'm not talking only about blockchain or AI. I'm talking about overall technology. How it can, what are the different tools? What are the aids? What they can do? How they can access them? That's called nothing. There's another impact program which I will share with you. I'm just in the finalization of that. IBA is a partner in that, in the sense that we are actually talking about the soft technology like blockchain, AI, IoT devices, how we can build it inside there, how we can track and trace, how people and caregivers can actually track a person moving into the system, moving outside. A lot of things happening. This is all the things. Now, this is where the human being and you and me come in picture, where we think empathetically. Like for anybody else, we would do it in
Yes.
real life. So why not in technology? This is a question we have to ask ourselves. You add to that sustainable and good ethical practices. That's very, very essential. You will layer this. We are now like it's like an onion. You keep on putting on the layers or peeling the layers, and you
Yeah.
peel. You say, "Oh, sustainable. Is it ethical? Yes, that's another layer which needs to be built inside. They should be ethically produced, environment friendly. When you're talking about different
The,
technology, so all these things are going to be part of it. I think we should be cognizant of all this.
yeah. And what you talked about is inclusivity that we were, which is part of our topic today in inclusivity and inclusive leadership in the digital age. And we're not just talking about AI, as you mentioned, as you rightfully said. And that is great to know that this is being, as vision and mission that that you are driving this on overall. In terms of we just talked about somebody's the bias, uh, the decisions that we make, and whether we are innovating ethically or whatever it is like somebody saying you could be create probably just molding an axe, and it could be used to cut wood for your fire in the house, which is a very constructive action, and you could be using that to doing destructive action too, right? Axe can be used for many different reasons. So
It's
this
a
is
tool
how
again.
it is a tool. At the end of the day, we have forgotten that whether it is a physical thing or something on the internet, or it's a digital thing, at the end of the day it is a tool in our hands. And that is where there is so much, I would say, hyperactivity in terms of putting the entire bias, I would say, on the
Yes.
technology side, and weighing down or removing the responsibility on the human side. So when we
Yes.
have these biases that these AI algorithms have, because eventually they are being fed the information. It could be a flawed design, it could be the biased data that is being fed, and the data that is being fed is not in your hands or in my hands. It is in the hands of the creator at the end of the day. And just in case it is a biased data, the results that are output are going to be biased as well. It's simple as saying all the people in the north are white skinned eventually, and it doesn't segregate. Okay, fine, all the white people in the north or the west are white skinned, but there is every kind of people, right? So
Yes.
but what it doesn't say is the origin of the person, right?
Yes.
Or in their genetics and all of that. So when a algorithm puts out biased data, who's responsible for it, and how do we contain that kind of bias seeping into AI algorithms?
Yeah, so actually, there are a lot of people making a lot of efforts, and it has to come as a holistic effort. I would say it's not a one bullet which solves all problem. There's no silver bullet for it. I think it starts from the very basics. I believe that basically that right from the diversity inclusion initiatives which we need to take. I believe that. I believe because right now, for example, in IBA also what we've done is we have a sector complete. I don't know whether you know, we in IBA we have people from everywhere. That's one part.
Yes.
And secondly,
Yes.
we have about almost 45% to 50% almost women in the mix because we believe that there needs to be a different. They need to be everybody's points are very important. Everybody's points of view are very important. So what we've
Right.
done is we've also created a complete diversity and inclusion unit
Mhm.
that provides a sort of an unconscious bias at the training for all. We set up also resource groups. Basically, we've had multiple communities. We've got the
Mhm.
women in blockchain community. We've got an AI in blockchain community. We've got women in tech community. We're building this around there. Shivani Kochar handles that. There's Dr. Bindu
Mhm.
Nair. There's women in this space. Plus, there is an Kavita Jadeja joined us right now. She's doing that.
Right.
You should also speak with them also. I'll introduce you to them. That's another great thing we're doing. Also, the commitment is very important. As an organization, I think it has to be a top-down approach. Any commitments are really important.
Mhm.
It has to be percolate down right through. It cannot just be at the top or be at the at a HR level or something.
Right.
They, we any product or a service has to be made people. It has to be sacrosanct. It has to be made for all disabilities.
Right.
Eye tracking software, whatever you require, everything is there. Then again, I don't know whether you know the
Mhm.
Unilever has a very nice program. Unilever has a diverse leadership team. Basically, what they do is they set clear targets for gender balance in management roles, absolutely without any bias. Then they have multiple
Right.
programs for the women and the unrepresented groups within their careers. Now, this is a very nice thing which Unilever has done, and many other companies are doing it now.
Mhm.
You need to have very inclusive policies. That
Mhm.
also it has to come at a policy level. It won't come otherwise. If there's no policy, it's not going to come. It's all going to be sounds good, but never going to be applied.
Mhm.
Diverse works or mentorship programs, or in different employee resource groups have to be coming, and that's what we are also practicing it within our organization also.
Mhm.
Work-life balance, all these things. Now, or whatever we have said about responsibility in AI or anything has to come at the fundamental layer first before it
Right.
percolates into the technology itself. It'll percolate
Right.
into the technology at some point of time. But if it is not at the core layer, it's going to be superficial and going to be absolutely no use. So
Mhm.
these are inclusive leadership is going to be very, very imperative that you have it. And that's what's going to be the secret sauce. It's not going to be anything else.
Yeah.
Everybody can build the guardrails. But first, let's understand if the
Yeah.
guardrails have been built with any ethics and responsibility, or even that has done something wrong. So let's not build things which are not good. Like people say, Taj Mahal is a beautiful place, but then it's also said that Shah Jahan cut off all the hands after that. Excuse me, doesn't sound very nice.
Well,
I
a
don't know
lot
if
of
it's true or
people
not.
true. Yes. I mean,
Yeah,
it's probably, we don't know whether it is a legend or if it's the
yes, a legend.
truth. You
So
know,
if it happens, not a great thing. So we are enjoying the beauty right now, and everybody world over. But listen, somebody suffered.
for one person, if you're, if you had done something like that, that is not a place that I would consider love. And that is a place I would consider obsession. And,
Absolutely.
it's obsession
So
and
yeah, so
cruelty.
it's the same thing. In technology is no different. See, the concepts never change. The fundamentals of responsibility and ethics never change. It's just that
Mhm.
technology makes it more digital. Otherwise, we've been
Mhm.
doing the same thing in the house. So when we steal from when we take out something in a house and steal something and don't tell our parents something, not ethical, not
Mhm.
right. It's the same
Mhm.
thing. We steal somebody's idea, steal somebody's content. That's the same thing.
Mhm.
Nothing much has changed. It's just we bracket it in and sort of put it into a bucket and say that's AI. That's where it should be. That's blockchain. These are the responsibilities. Yeah, but then that's the way we're moving, and we need those. So the guardrails,
Yeah.
yes, we need, but we don't need anybody to chop the hands that build the guardrail.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. One of our viewers corrected me for one of the things that it's Scarlett Johansson.
Paul
Yes.
Johnson.
Thank you so much, Vishaka. Appreciate that. Yes, of course, I want to be accurate, and I just couldn't think about the right
Yeah,
name.
it happens.
I was just
I
yes.
can imagine the whole day swirling with
But
so much work sometimes.
yeah, we're trying not to depend on so much on AI. I could have just quickly asked ChatGPT what the was, probably would have had the answer. But we're trying not to depend so much on AI. We just want to use it as a tool as required when required, and ensure that our minds keep functioning, and create more AIs, as and when required, so that we can use it. That
Yes.
brings me to question. You are ahead of me, Raj. Today, you are actually literally speaking my mind. So we wanted to talk about inclusive leadership, right?
Yeah.
When we say inclusive leadership in the digital age, and we have been talking about this now for ages, and women have not just women. Let's not just not talk about the women anymore, because the world has changed. Let's just talk about everything across the realm, everybody across the realm, right? That we have. And today, this month's June is the Pride Month too. So there is a lot to talk about those things. And why is that? When we, very few leaders we see, focus on that, focus on what is required to increase the opinions, the perspectives, and what drives and when it thrives, right? The technology and innovations and all of that thrive when you have broader reach, and not just this little. Why science says don't intermarry? Because your genes get
Generally.
saturated, and then there starts happening all these anomalies and all of that.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
feel today, not blaming any particular gender or anything like that, I feel today we have come to a point where we are having those anomalies in the entire, the build up, the building, the innovations, the way we structured the society, everything, all of that, right? So, can we somehow bring that into a complete and inclusive society, an inclusive digital age where you have representation at all levels, at founders level, investors level, leadership level, creators, developers, everything, right? Everything, everybody's voice is
Yes.
included, and even the end users. We somehow, when we talk about demographics in our research and all of that, we ask them he or she, right? And you have excluded a big range. People would have been in the closet but not in the closet anymore. Even today, when I want to submit my application to my son's school, it's either he or she. I don't want to say. And why don't I want to say? I want to say if I'm if I'm
Right.
different, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. So how do we bring that on the larger scale of the entire digital platform that we have today? You're a great leader, and I'm trying to be a good leader. Within, we try as much as we can with our vision statement and missions and all of that stuff. We try. So, how, if you could enlighten the viewers, and I would love for people to participate in this topic, especially to kind of ask us these questions, where it is that you see us making that change. How can we make it a very inclusive leadership in this digital age?
I think inclusive leadership starts right from home. It starts from home. It's right within the house. It starts there.
Hmm.
We need to really, actually, there's awareness. Everybody is aware of. Everybody talks about inclusiveness. How many of them actually practice it? Very few. And I'm talking about right at home as well. Okay.
Right.
I'm sure all of us have
Right.
experienced it at some point of time. We live in a patriarchal society where everything
Hmm.
the father says is what goes.
Hmm.
Now, fortunately, I don't live in that sort of a society. My wife and I have an equal say in the matter. My wife is an excellent writer, an excellent. She's as intelligent as anybody else I would speak to. And that's one of the reasons
Right.
why I married her. So I practiced it
Hmm.
right at home. My daughter,
Right.
at the age of 15 or 16,
Hmm.
she went to the
Hmm.
United States because she says, Papa, I earned a scholarship. I want to go. And mind you, I returned from the USA in 1992 when my daughter was born only because I thought that, it's not the right safe environment for my daughter.
Hmm.
Karmic circle goes back and she says, I want to go back, and I let her go. Today, she's a very successful person out there. And
Hmm.
mental equal. We have to treat
Hmm.
everybody as mental equals, irrespective of gender, their leanings, whether they're in the closet, there's anything. I mean, weak, strong, handsome, fair, dark, Afro, Asian, whatever. There are so many.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
It's, when we have our bhel puri, the very simple, ubiquitous bhel puri which we have to put a lot of everything inside, then you get the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
If you put them all inside, they don't have much of a taste. But if you put them all together, and that's exactly where the world is. If we put all this inside one, makes a much more colorful and a better world for everybody. Now, what we need to really do for it is practice what we preach. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You and me, everybody listening in, go back, reflect a little and see, have I been inclusive? When the beggar knocked on my door, a car door, did I rush him off, or did I talk to him nicely? Forget giving the money. Whether you gave or not, that's not the point. Did you treat him well? That's
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Did you ask your driver how he's feeling? He's driving you around. Did you ask about his family? Did you invite them over to your home? Will you do that ever? Now,
Mm-hmm.
as a practice, we in a
Mm-hmm.
family, for example, our driver, we all sit at the table and eat together. We are trying to show, we are not trying to show that we are great. Nobody's coming to see us. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But we do that because we believe in that. Why should
Mm-hmm.
there used to be a time when all the servants used to sit on the floor? No, you sit on
Mm-hmm.
the chair. There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
wrong with it. What I'm saying is these fundamentals of what we talk about is what we need to translate that and put them into the tech space as well, which is
Mm-hmm.
happening, right? To some extent, but not happening at the pace which we would like it. You will
Mm-hmm.
still find this space full of males more than females or other gender or people who are from other dimensions. But I think that is going to take, it's now the awareness is getting more, especially in the tech world when they have access to so much of knowledge, so many of things happening, so much initiatives happening in different places. When we talk about all the larger companies lead by example. The Googles, the Facebooks, the Metas, they will lead by example from a corporate perspective.
Right.
That's that percolate, and that has to be top down again. If it doesn't percolate down to the last common denominator, it's again a useless exercise. It sounds good it looks great in the books. It looks great on your balance sheet. All right, we're doing some good stuff. Oh, we're damn good perception management. No, we don't need perception management. We need internalization. We don't
Right.
need this. We need empathy. We need to have an
Right.
empathy-based approach towards technology. We really
Right.
need now, and it's not words. We really need to do that. If I'm making a car in which somebody who is short or he cannot get into it or is having discomfort or somebody with a disability can't get into it, it's useless. Your innovation is
Mm-hmm.
that's not that's just
Mm-hmm.
we should not replicate, we should innovate, bring something
Right.
new to the table. That's where we are going to come there. I learned today, something, I'll be very honest, and I'm admitting this in front of everybody. Every presentation I make, I first show it to my wife. I said, "Can you
Mm-hmm.
understand can I say, can you understand it?" And she doesn't come from a tech background. She's a writer. She's the arts background, so she's a wonderful creative person. But she tells me, "No, this doesn't look. Why have you put the picture of this foreigner? Put an Indian if you're talking to an Indian audience." In the beginning, she told me. Now I become more conscious of it. It's a small thing, but these things
Mm-hmm.
make you more responsible. And
Mm-hmm.
no, don't make fun of people who are fat or thin or out of shape or something. Don't do that. This is something which we have to teach our kids and our people right at home. It does. We don't have to look outside. This is inside the house, inside our homes. The same thing with technology. We look in technology. We need to look inside and say, are we doing it right? Are we doing it? Are we really making an impact, or we are making a quick buck? That's
Yes.
important.
Yes.
That is
And
important.
yes. I
Yeah.
also there's one other topic I want to touch. One of the sentiment I want to touch on the topic, Raj, is when we do that, a lot of the times these are done as inclusivity programs. Somehow you're including them. Somehow you're you feel like you need to reserve some seats for them and stuff, and as such, right? Somehow there has to be a 50-50 balance, government mandates, corporates mandate, and all of those things happen. When you say you are reserving something for them, you're automatically saying you're different. You're
Yeah.
automatically saying you are not included. Somehow you are
Yeah.
doing them a favor and you're expecting them to thank you for it and
Yeah.
feel that somehow they're different. So the mindset, when we say we want it to change at the level of saying there is nothing different, it's just another person. It's just,
Yes.
another person, another brain that I want to hire for this particular role, this particular thing that I want to get done. And I want to ask you one more question. Do you feel that this entire corporate structure we have today, going forward in the digital age, is this how we want to continue, or do we want to reshape that whole thing. If you ask me, as you know, I will just want to share a little bit of opinion as I ask you the question. I will shake it up and leaving it there. I just want to ask you the question.
The corporate system sucks. It's broken. It's completely broken. Okay. And I'm talking
How
from an
about you?
experience.
I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, it's completely broken. There is no such thing as inclusiveness there. There's no such thing as diversity there. Everything is on paper. Most of the cases. I'm not saying in all. I would say in 80% is the Pareto principle. 20% actually do some work. 80% just put it on paper, just to show the investors, just to show people. I think that needs to change. We really need to change that. That approach needs to go. Second, the corporate sector is no longer going to be the way it is right now. The next 5 to 10 years, with the advent of new technologies, everything is going to be shaken up. Everything, whether
Yes.
it is job, I'm not saying jobs are going to go, they're going to be reinvented. People fear
Mhm.
that the jobs will go. Yes, some jobs may become defunct, but then others will come up also. So you need to upskill yourself. Yes. So the corporate structure, are they ready for the future? I say most Indian corporates right now, I don't think so. A
Mhm.
lot of international ones, yes. I mean, I've worked in a lot of international companies in the past. I work with them now also, a lot of Indian. I see a huge gap between what is actually put on paper and what is actually put in practice.
Mhm.
That platform has to be made into an actual platform which works. That's another one. We talk about CSR activities. CSR is a
Mhm.
joke in most companies.
Mhm.
Okay. You got to put technology to be the enabler to track and trace whether CSR is actually doing what it's supposed to meant to be. Right?
Mhm.
We got to read the entire environment into a responsible environment, a responsible corporations. When
Mhm.
we talk about ESGs, yes, we are bringing the ESG aspect into corporates. That's
Mhm.
also going to change things. That's also going to make corporates more responsible because you'll have environmental consciousness, sustainability, you'll have good governance. ESG
Mhm.
is good. I think at least in theory, it's a fantastic option to have it as an ESG. So having an
Mhm.
ESG index is going to be very, very vital in the future when we are going to do business with corporates. A good
I
ESG
think,
index is, yeah.
yeah.
So that's how I would see it. I'm actually
Mhm.
created an ESG platform, by the way, which I'm putting on the blockchain completely. I'm working on that right now to make that happen. And include, because there was a platform already there. And I told them, listen, guys, how do I? A lot of it was self-attested reports. I thought that's bullshit.
Reports, yes. So
It's
is this
bullshit.
going to be part of the green blockchain that you guys are protocol that you're working on?
That's part of the green blockchain, the green chain protocol.
The
Yes.
green chain. Right, right.
When you talk about
Fantastic.
environment, you actually should make an impact. When you talk about sustainability, you should actually make the impact. And when you talk about good
Yes.
governance, it covers everything. So
It's, like you said, it starts at home. And all those who are listening today, and a lot of you are going to be leaders. I have some good questions that people are asking, which means that they're interested in it. They want to be leaders. They want to be thinkers. They want to be innovators. If you are, in any of these spheres, and just as a person, the change can start with you. The change
yeah,
can be with you. You can respect your colleague, who is probably, according to you, is different, and
yes,
make that word different go away. Right? It could be in any sense. It either could be not from the same place that you were born. India has 28 states. And US is adding, as we go, looking at splitting and stuff like that. But as we think about it, we differentiate among ourselves. Good, bad, ugly, thin, fat, tall, short, dark, fair, intelligent, not no, no, not so high intelligence. There's so much discrimination, and we're talking about LGBTQ, as we
yes,
add the letters to it and all of that. We haven't even gotten over this inclusivity, this
no,
inclusiveness in the leadership. We hire somebody because at times they look good, and we
yeah,
we may probably overlook somebody who's probably a lot more fitting for that particular job, and that happens quite a bit more than we realize. Subconsciously, we're making those decisions. So today is
yes,
a call for all of you, as we progress into AI, as we progress into the next digital age. This is a call for you leaders to kind of bring that into your first step as your thought process to be included into your entire layout. Raj, we have let's take one question before we move on. Sandeep Muley wants to know, he wants to know a little bit more about the RWAs. I think that comes from the question that the first answer that you gave, that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
split
yeah.
your patents and then you sold them as pieces, and
Right.
how does it happen? So
No,
please take.
when we talk about technology and we talk about a lot of innovation, I think RWA has come in as a very huge innovation, and it's going to be there for a long, long time. For people who don't know what is RWA, I think most of us would know it. It's real world assets. RWA is real world assets, and their tokenization is now going to be a very big thing in the future. What is tokenization? I will not get into too deep, but basically breaking it down into tokens so that it is affordable for everybody rather than one person invests in the whole thing. If I have a house, maybe I want to buy a building, I can't buy the building. I don't have the money. But if you tokenize the building, lots of us, people like us, you and me, can sit down, put a little bit, and you can buy the tokens, 1 token, 5 tokens, 10 tokens, whatever you got, put it up, and the value goes up. So that's real world asset tokenization. So when you talk about real world assets, also, again, we'll bring in the ethics and good leadership. Now, I'll tell you an example. The West and the Middle East, etc., they're actually using real world assets for tokenization in a very big way. But in India, we have a struggling MSME sector. The MSME sector, not only in India, in Africa, in Nigeria, in Zambia, I've seen it in South Africa, they have a medium and small, medium enterprise. If they are exposed to technology and says, listen, with this RWA, with tokenization, there is a way of leveraging your assets. Look at it. They
Mhm.
can take a farmer, for example. He's got land, but he doesn't have the money to cultivate on it. He can actually use that land as a tokenized asset. That is something which is
Mhm.
actually doing good for the human race. It
Yes.
doesn't mean you don't have to make profits, but it also means you're doing something, you're giving somebody an extra chance, an edge, an option. You don't have to take it,
Mhm.
but you have an option now. So coming back to RWA and having it, I think in India we need to really realize it, make some regulations and rules around it, so that in India also we can do that. But in the meantime, the West is already there. In fact, I'm creating an RWA platform in Nigeria right now,
Mhm.
actually,
Mhm.
so that farmers can actually now a corporation of farmers come together. They can actually raise money, and investors also get the first chance to invest in their future,
Mhm.
harvests, etc., etc. So there's a whole world which was alien to us a few years back. Technology
Mhm.
has brought it to the forefront and given people more options.
Mhm.
Whether it's a good option, bad option, you can decide. At the end of the
Right.
day, you're the human who decides everything. You're the one who presses the button. Send mail, don't send mail, delete, etc. So you're the one who's going to decide it. But you have an option now, which was not there 2 years back. Similarly, you'll
Mhm.
have tomorrow there are liners, there are ships being, so you could, as an individual, I can own something which I would never have been able to own. So there are good things to it. There is a downside to everything in life, but I think in the long run, it's giving a lot of people options. And as becomes more mature, the models become more mature, they will add
Mhm.
value, because you'll have real world assets. Could be bonds, could be anything, gold, silver, whatever. There's a company in
Right.
Switzerland called Gems. They're actually tokenizing different world class gems. They're making
Mhm.
digital gems backed by real gems, and actually doing that. Again,
Mhm.
giving an opportunity for people for investments, etc. Lots of things happening. It's a new world. Let's try and embrace the change. So,
Right.
yeah, Sandeep, hope I've answered your question on our RWA, real world assets, and that's the value you can bring to the table.
Truly, and it is in line with with our topic today, embracing the decentralized future. This is
Mm.
how, whether it is you're part of RWAs, or you want to create a real world asset from what you have, just like Raj mentioned today. Just to add to it, if the gems are being tokenized and fractionalized, and RWA, by the way, doesn't have to be a one whole; it can be
Mm.
fractionalized. But
Mm.
at this time in India, I think there are rules against it, because the RBI said that they are commodities, and they're securities. Some of one of those. I'll have to do my research a little bit more on that front. But but eventually, I would sure that India would also embrace RWAs and fractionalization of assets and all of that stuff. As we do it, that gem that multiple people hold, if it is sold, everybody gets share of the profit. So now this is something that eventually takes people out of that the poverty levels which they are stuck in for generations and generations and generations, because they cannot hold an acre of land, they cannot hold 10 acres of land, and eventually they are struggling. They cannot probably hold a complete house. And if they can hold these fractions as generations go by, they would eventually own a whole home, and they can do it by themselves without the handouts of the government. And this is
Right.
how we actually decentralize the future of
Yes.
our own selves. And this is exactly how we envision it. This is exactly how we want to bring this technology to improve the human centric nature of the innovation. And it's bang on. All of these topics that we're talking today come together, coalesce into that one aspect of human centric, the suffering, the lack of inclusion, the leadership, the ethics of in AI and in the human side of things. They all coalesce into one this beautiful idea that is
Right.
decentralization. And
Exactly.
thank you for sharing such wonderful information, Raj. And your examples are just ahead of my questions, so I'm just having to go back and refer to them. So beautifully said. I hope
You
that
know,
answers. Yeah,
yeah,
go
that'll
ahead.
answer this question. And Kavita, I'll really tell you, I have actually put together a master plan for the
Mm-hmm,
government of India to see how we can address this and actually help our farmers. Our
mm-hmm.
farmers, we know, you know how many of them commit suicide. There's almost a suicide every minute. It's
Yes,
not the right thing. We are an agrarian economy. Why are we not? We can give them all the little schemes, etc. That's fine. We do that.
yes,
That's not a problem. Go ahead. Why don't we put it on the blockchain also to see whether we can, if they're going to the right person, we can track and trace it.
yes,
That's one part.
yeah,
The other part is, can we teach them without being preachy to help them
yes,
fractionalize their collective lands? Can we teach them how to earn carbon credits from their agrarian, from the fields?
yes,
Can we give
yes,
them a better life, a better shot at something in life? We can.
yes,
I've actually put together a paper specifically for the agri sector and how we can make them more prosperous. Look at the farmer in Canada and the United States. Look at him and look at our farmers.
mm-hmm,
It's a whole, it's a paradigm shift the way things happen there. Okay, they're naturally endowed with a lot of resources, etc. Fine, that's one part of the guy. But here, they're not. Can we
yes,
give them an option to get something better? Can we give them a shot at a better life, the next generation at a better life? And why should the next generation not say, I don't want to become a farmer? If we
yes. Of
lose it,
course, when we have the means and the methods and the and of earning and of being proud of what they're doing, and I believe that the next generations will go back
yeah,
to doing exactly
yes,
what our what our we're talking
yeah,
about making earth more green, which is we want to reverse that entire um, you
exactly.
know the heating of the earth and all of that, environmental issues and everything. We want to reverse them, and we have the solutions in our hands. You can merge them very beautifully. You give these farmers ability to earn those credits, and they are going to be so happy to generate those credits for you, which they automatically are generating anyways. So
Anyways,
they will
yeah,
take more interest in staying with it than actually abandoning it. So you have a
right.
problem, you have a solution, and bring that together in a very decentralized manner, and that takes care of so many problems.
So many
And
problems.
it actually it empowers everybody. It empowers you, it empowers the creator, it empowers the people who are talking about in the the nonprofit sector, saying we want to hug trees, we want to do this, we want to do that. They may as well go to the government and take the solution, say, hey, listen, this is exactly, don't call RWAs and fractionalized assets, don't demarcate them as
Yeah,
securities and all of that. Consider them as solutions. Think
yes.
of them as solutions instead of
Let's
you
not
giving.
put silos.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. Instead of you giving 10,000 rupees in benefits to the farmer today, give them this fractionalized asset possibilities and let them do
exactly.
their own job. And that actually takes the person literally, instead of giving them the fish, you're teaching them how to fish. And that's exactly
Absolutely.
what we will do eventually.
Today, if you
Take the
ask a farmer's child, he doesn't want to become a farmer. You ask an artisan's child, he doesn't want to become an artisan. Our arts are dying, our culture dies.
Mhm.
We lose much more than we gain. We feel that we are gaining. That's a very short, myopic way of looking at things, but we are actually losing. How many people make Banarsi saris today? How many people you know the art of ikat? How many farmers are actually the
Yes.
kids are they're going out? They don't. They're migrating to cities, putting pressure on the cities also. Also, if
Yes.
you also see on the flip side, a lot of corporate people are giving up their comfortable corporate life and going to organic farming, living in natural
Hmm.
habitats, environment friendly
Hmm.
solutions. If there's a whole solution for everybody. So let's
There's a
make that
circle.
happen.
Yes.
That's responsible technology. That is bringing inclusive leadership, bringing it for everybody, for you, for me, for everyone. I come from
Hmm.
Punjab myself, so I
Hmm.
understand what farmers feels. I also come. I also stay in the cities. I understand their challenges. So we must try and make it all inclusive. Yo, he's a farmer. Why he's a farmer? Is that an abuse? Is that a demarcation you're making? No, he's just like you and me. It's just a profession. At the end of the day, we are all humans.
By the way, I'm a farmer myself. My father is a farmer. He's a doctor,
Cool,
retired, and a farmer
right?
again. And he comes from a farming family. He went back to farming, and I love to farm. And I have a little farm myself in my own little balcony that I grow my own
Super.
vegetables. And this
Then you
is
will
a
enjoy
circle.
my house.
I'm sorry.
We have a huge terrace on top, and we have a whole. We grow our own vegetables ourselves, all organic, of course. But yes, we do everything. You'll enjoy my house then. That's for sure. Come over.
And we think, yes, of course, we have fancy names for it, right? We call them kitchen gardens, we call them urban gardens, and all of that. And we are forgetting that that is exactly how the civilization lives.
Yes.
They grew their own food, they bartered, did all of that stuff. And today I would like to bring the bartering system back. And I somehow feel
Yes.
like crypto is a way of barter. You kind of bartering. I'm saying like, I'll give you tokens, give me some money, I'll build this for you, and you become, decentralized and all of that stuff. So I kind of am looking at it as a step forward, and we're taking a step backward to kind of understand how the societies functioned,
Yes.
before these ads and all of that stuff. So I have a funny saying in our in Solverse that I keep bringing it up. After Solverse, and before Solverse, like we have the BC and the AD, there's going to be an
Ah,
after Solverse. Actually, blockchain, ABC, before blockchain and after
yes.
blockchain kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
BBC is, we would like to call it. But
Uh,
talking about, kind of trying to bring all of this that we talked about today, Raj, because we are going to be out of time. And I have one more question to ask you to wrap all of this stuff, and I have some rapid fire questions that I'm going to shoot at you in just a minute. But I want to bring all of this together, and I think you are the person that who can probably bring all of this together in multiple directions that you're working today. By the way, guys, he's a TEDx speaker as well. And so, among the millions of things I wanted to read out, but it's just, I want you to know him. So please go out there and like him and find him on LinkedIn, and just pick his brain, right?
yeah.
Um, Raj, how do you think we can, we talked about human centric technologies. We talked about inclusive leadership. We talked about decentralizing our future and then embracing it. Where do these three things merge in exactly the way we are doing it today? And how would we look back, let's say in 20 years, 50 years, and 100 years? And how do we want to see? We don't want to say, oops, wish we had 2020 vision at that time. We don't want to look back and say wish we had 2020. That we think that we did have that 2020. How do you see these three merging into a beautiful solution that people can ideate on?
Well, that's a utopia, yes, for now, but it's not impossible. It's just like in a family, you have your mother, the father, the kids. How do they merge? How do they stay and remain a nucleus family? And how do they also then stay with their grandparents, uncles, aunts? That's exactly the merger which we need. We don't have to look very far. We should just again look back in our house how we merged our own ways of living. Do you not get
Mhm.
along all the time? Are you always at loggerheads with your siblings or your parents? No, you're always there's an adjustment. That is the calibration. We need to understand that we need to calibrate everything, whether it's technology, whether it's inclusiveness, whether it's ethics, whether it's respect, in everything. Now, but we got to do everything with what I call is if we have to make this happen, we're not going to make it happen by just speaking about it on a couple of shows, etc. We need to make it bigger. I
Mhm.
call it
Mhm.
blitzscaling. I don't know if you heard that word before, Kavita.
Yes, I
Basically,
did.
in the in the business world, it means go big or go home. So I believe in
Mm-hmm.
blitzscaling. Just
Mm-hmm.
imagine that we are in a race to build the biggest company possible or the best product. Instead of taking a time to go and plan every step, let's focus on the business at real lightning speed, even if it means taking big risks. The same thing
Mm-hmm.
applies to this merger.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the idea is to really outpace anything else rather than people preaching in different directions. Try and make it happen faster. The faster we
Okay.
get people inside, the faster we do it. This is my opinion. Okay, that may be completely wrong, but that's why I would do it. Just like I would do it for an organization, I would do it for this. You
Mm-hmm.
could, I would first of all take off
Mm-hmm.
all the reservations possible, but then that's
Mm-hmm.
me. It's not going to get me any brownie points for saying it, but still I'm saying it.
Mm-hmm.
It actually also means accepting, calibrating, accepting the mistakes on the way. You don't have all the details figured out right now. Things can get messy also, but put
Right.
it as a priority. Put it in
Yes.
speed. Put speed over efficiency. That's very important in today's world
Mm-hmm.
because we don't have too much time. I hope that by the time people realize we already merged into it.
Right.
This is how
Right.
corporates have already done it in the past. Take a Google, take a Facebook in the early days. This is how they've scaled. They've scaled their
Mm-hmm.
businesses. Can we not scale our fundamentals and concepts which already are ingrained in us? They're already
Mm-hmm.
inside us. We just need to look, introspect a little, and then understand how can we do it? We can do it. And
Right.
well, you and I are talking about it today. Whoever's
Mm-hmm.
listening can actually start introspecting. Give us the idea. Even you can give us lots of ideas. There's everything that
Mm-hmm.
Kavita and I don't know. We would love to hear from you for that on that. I believe that
Right.
every one of us, you have with you, Kavita, you've got Ali. Ali is a classic example. Ali is a classic example of how he's actually it's inclusive. Everybody treats him with the same respect as anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows he comes from an underprivileged background. That's
Mm-hmm.
we call it underprivileged word. He
Mm-hmm.
comes from a privileged background. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen that. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
we do a lot of work. For example, Kavita, what we are trying to do is when we talk about any programs, when you talk about a course, even if it's a blockchain course, the fundamentals of inclusivism, DEI,
Mm-hmm.
what we call DEI, diversity, empathy, as all is embedded into the system. So right from whether you want to embed it and spoon feed people or just talk to them and understand, all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of efforts are going to go inside it. There's no one single solution that's going to be there, but all these
Right.
solutions put together are going to make things happen, and we should make them happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So now we come to our rapid fire section. You could choose to answer this in one sentence or you could elaborate, but I have 5 questions and we have 3 minutes. What's the most exciting blockchain project you're currently involved in?
Right now, I'm doing a deforestation project with the government of India right now on actually using blockchain and AI to arrest the deforestation issue. I'll elaborate later on offline, but that's what my most
Yeah.
exciting for me because trees are our lifeline.
Okay. That absolutely, absolutely. We see that every day, and I've witnessed it right in front of my home, how it actually affects us.
Yes.
What's one unexpected challenge you faced in the blockchain space, and how did you overcome it?
The biggest challenge, not just for me, is for everybody in the blockchain space, is a whole bunch of posers, people who really don't know
Okay.
blockchain. Yeah, they have good marketing people, but definitely not blockchain people. A lot of them in the market because everybody's joined the gold rush, the blockchain AI,
Mm-hmm.
everybody. So I always say be
Mm-hmm.
aware and beware of posers. There are a lot of posers. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the biggest thing which needs to be removed from the system. If this blockchain is going to get mainstream, you've got to remove this from the way. No thumbs up at events, etc. Just good, clean work. That's more important. My two
Awesome, and that
cents.
is that is a very relevant one. Everyone who's wanting to understand, I mean, I get a lot of LinkedIn messages asking me questions and all of that. At times, it is not my forte. I'm in the blockchain. I'm building identity and doing all the stuff, and I am very well versed and in depth. Sometimes I may not know a particular answer. So if I know, don't take it as somebody's lack of intelligence, and don't take it as somebody's worthwhileness because they know everything. They could be just faking it. So make sure
We're still
that yes, make sure that you find the right person if you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking to learn something, if you're looking to partner with something to build something. make sure that they know actually what they know. They say they know, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is, what's the most fascinating misconception you have encountered in Web3, and how would you debunk it in one sentence?
Yeah, well, very simple. The biggest misconception is that it's not for me. That's what for most people say. It's not for me. I'm very comfortable where I am. So the idea is, listen, guys, you're as comfortable making cash payment 10 years back. Now you make a GPay payment. It's the same thing, guys. It's changed. Payment is payment. It's just become easier now. Take it, embrace it. That's all I say. Don't block. Don't put a wall. You're putting walls.
These are gold, Raj, absolutely gold answers. So I'm going to ask you one last one. As a mentor to many in the industry, including me, what's one piece of advice you find yourself repeating often?
My piece of advice: don't stand at the edge of the ocean. Dive inside, swim the sharks, cross on the other side. There's something waiting for you. As I said, biz scaling.
And now that's platinum. Thank you so much, Raj. Much appreciate. Everything. It's a pleasure always talking to you, and the time is never enough. That is one thing I would say. Talking to you, it's always like I want to go on, and I have to kind of shorten my responses and probably end the questions as well. But we will look to come back. And by the way, guys, Raj will be in a guest blogging for Solverse, and look out for more gold coming from his side. And
Well,
if you want to be a gold digger, yeah, if you want to be a gold digger, this is the best place to be a gold digger.
Yeah, there's no gold rush, but we dig for the gold. Don't rush for the gold.
Yes.
Always say that.
Yes.
Only fools rush in. And guys, this is one thing. All
Yes.
we've just today. You'll be very happy to know, Kavita. IBA has partnered with the Ras Al Khaimah government to help them put together a beautiful digital asset oasis in Ras Al Khaimah.
Yes.
So anybody wants to talk to me about that also, and we are creating an exchange program for startups from Ras Al Khaimah to India. So it's a beautiful thing, exposing Indian startups to Western markets and Eastern markets, Middle Eastern markets, and West, and them to India. So that's good use of technology when we're putting a complete platform. It's a blockchain-based platform we are creating for this exchange. So enjoy the space, guys.
Thank you so much. I'll just give you a little scoop. I get to know all these ahead of time as well, because we're always in touch. We're working together, and we're looking to provide self-sovereign identity solutions to IBA partners and to the world. And it is just, I'm telling you guys, an exciting world out there. Go be part of it. Come be part of it. We are always looking for great minds, great partners, great solutions. If you have an idea, reach out to Raj, reach out to me. And this is what inclusivity is all about. Being inclusive leadership is all about. An inclusive leader never shies away from talking to somebody just because they are just beginning. And we're happy to talk to you. We're happy to teach you and then take you on as well. So, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll come back to you with another episode of Soul Show Season 2, Episode 2, which will be announced by Ali, our awesome strategist who does all this good work. Shout out to him as well. And shout out to everybody in IBA who was doing great work. And everybody I know from IBA is excellent and committed, and reach out to them whenever you guys feel like you're ready to talk about anything in blockchain. Thank you, Raj. Thank you so much. And, we are over the time, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Much.
Hasta la vista. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.